The person you think is the smartest in the room is almost never the loudest one in it. Think about that for a second. We have this deeply wired image of what genius looks like: someone commanding attention, rattling off facts, dazzling everyone within a 10-foot radius. We grew up watching it in movies. We reinforced it in classrooms. We reward it in boardrooms. But the actual science of high intelligence tells a completely different story. And once you hear it, you'll start seeing the world and the people around you in a way you never quite did before. Welcome to Decoded Psychology, where we go beneath the surface of everyday human behavior and uncover the psychological forces quietly shaping your decisions, your relationships, and your life. Today, we're talking about the real research-backed habits of people with extremely high IQs, not the myths. The actual patterns. The first one catches almost everyone off guard. People with very high intelligence tend to spend a lot of time alone. Not because they're broken, not because they're arrogant, but because their brains are almost never at rest. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for deep planning, abstract reasoning, and reflective thought, needs space. It needs quiet. Constant social stimulation doesn't fuel this kind of mind, it interrupts it. A landmark study from the London School of Economics found that highly intelligent individuals actually reported lower life satisfaction with frequent social interaction compared to people of average intelligence. Let that sink in. Their brains weren't craving the crowd. They were craving the silence to think through it. The second habit flows directly from that. An almost compulsive, relentless curiosity. Not just about the big philosophical questions, though, those two, but about the small, overlooked mechanics of everyday life. Why does that system work the way it does? Why did that person react that way and not some other way? The brain of a high IQ individual is constantly, almost involuntarily, searching for patterns. Curiosity isn't a trait they developed. It's more like a biological engine that never turns off. Third, they talk to themselves, out loud, in the car, in the shower, sometimes in the middle of a grocery store when they think no one is watching. Psychologists call this self-directed speech, and the research is surprisingly clear. This habit actively improves cognitive control, strengthens working memory, and helps the brain organize complex thoughts in real time. When you see someone quietly narrating their own thinking, the instinct is to find it odd. What you're actually seeing is a highly active cognitive system doing its maintenance work. Fourth, and this one is genuinely rare, they are completely comfortable saying, "I don't know." Most people find those three words almost physically uncomfortable. There's a phenomenon in psychology called the Dunning-Kruger effect, the tendency for people with limited knowledge in a subject to dramatically overestimate their own competence. But highly intelligent individuals tend to experience the reverse. The more they understand about a subject, the more vividly they perceive the vast territory of what they still don't know. Intellectual humility, in this case, isn't modesty, it's accuracy. Fifth, they overthink small things. An analytical brain doesn't get to choose when it switches on. The same neural machinery that can dissect a complex systemic problem will, without warning, start running a detailed postmortem on a 3-sentence text message. This can look like indecision from the outside. Internally, it's the brain running simultaneous models of possible outcomes, weighing variables, refusing to accept a surface-level answer when a deeper one might exist. It's not always comfortable to live inside, but it's rarely shallow. Sixth, and this one surprised people every time: a fierce, often dark, deeply sophisticated sense of humor. Humor is not a simple thing cognitively. To construct or appreciate genuine wit, the brain has to recognize patterns, violate expectations, and connect two apparently unrelated ideas at the exact right moment. Research published in intelligence journals has found a measurable correlation between higher 1Q scores and advanced humor processing. The wittiest person in the room is usually one of the most cognitively complex. Not always the loudest, but definitely paying the most attention. Seventh, they change their minds regularly, without shame. This is the one that gets misread most often. When someone updates their position after encountering new evidence, we tend to interpret it as weakness. Inconsistency, flip-flopping. What it actually reflects is something psychologists call cognitive flexibility, the capacity to hold a belief loosely enough that new information can genuinely reshape it. A truly intelligent mind doesn't treat its own opinions as identity. It treats them as working hypotheses, always subject to revision. 8. Their brains come alive at night. Many high 1Q individuals are naturally nocturnal in their thinking patterns, reporting their best. Most creative, most focused hours happening long after midnight. Some evolutionary psychologists suggest this connects to cognitive adaptability, that individuals with greater mental flexibility are more capable of shifting away from the biologically default sleep-wake cycle. Whether or not that fully explains it, the pattern shows up again and again. 9th, they observe before they speak. In a room full of people, the high IQ individual is often the one not rushing to fill the silence. They're watching, reading emotional undercurrents, tracking social dynamics, gathering data before forming a conclusion. It can come across as aloofness. It isn't. It's the same pattern recognition that works on abstract problems, quietly being applied to the most complex system of all other people. And the 10th habit is the one that lives underneath all the others. A constant, sometimes exhausting search for meaning. Not necessarily in a spiritual sense, though sometimes that too. But a persistent awareness that the systems we live inside, the relationships we carry, the identities we build, none of them are as simple as they appear. High intelligence often brings with it an almost involuntary depth perception. You see the layers, you can't stop seeing them. And eventually, that leads to one very quiet, very serious question that tends to follow intelligent people through their entire lives. Why do we think the way we think? That question is not a burden. It's the engine. Intelligence at its deepest level has almost nothing to do with test scores or correct answers or the ability to recall information faster than someone else. It's the refusal to accept the first explanation. It's the willingness to sit alone in the discomfort of not knowing and keep thinking anyway. It's the quiet, stubborn, relentless insistence on understanding the world more honestly than you did yesterday. That's not a gift a few people are born with. That's a practice. And it starts with paying attention. If this kind of thinking interests you, there's an entire world of it here on this channel. Subscribe to Decoded Psychology. Every week we go deeper together. And next time, we're exploring something that might genuinely disturb you. The psychological reason why most people never change, even when they desperately want to. You'll want to be here for that one.